Zach is back. It's the Zach Gelb Show on Fox Sports 920 The Jersey.
4:16 on a Tuesday. This is the Zach Gelb Show, 609-919-9200. I'm annoyed at Lane Johnson. He has let down the entire team. We knew this announcement was coming. It was inevitable. It is poor judgment. And now the Philadelphia Eagles will suffer on the offensive line. Hopefully Big V could fill in and do a viable job against the Redskins this week. Now joining us, played the National Football League from 82 to 93. Now does a tremendous job with the NFL Network, and that is our good friend Brian Baldinger. Baldy, what's happening, my friend?
Hey, good afternoon, Zach. It's good to be with you. Thanks.
Well, thank you for coming on. So I'm disappointed with Lane Johnson. You knew this news was coming down. It's a stupid decision on his part to take this substance again after already getting caught once. The thing, though, and you've been in NFL locker rooms, and I'm not going the Donald Trump route and asking you for locker room talk, but you know how much these guys depend on him in the locker room. That's the thing that hurts the most because of how much of a vital presence he plays on this team.
Well, he's just played 4 really good games. He's been almost flawless in the way that he's performed here in the first month of the season. So it's going to be a big loss. They knew it. They've known it for a long time. They had a contingency plan that they worked on throughout the preseason. However, it looks like that's going to change, and I agree with what Doug Peterson is doing. I wouldn't put Alan Barber over at right tackle right now. I wouldn't change 2 positions to fix one. I leave him over at left guard next to Jason Peters. They played real well together as well. So, yeah, it's gonna next man up type thing. I mean, I think the Eagles will treat it like Lane Johnson just got injured. He's out for the next 10 weeks. I mean, that's kind of how you have to look at it. The only downside is you're not going to see him. He's a real leader on the team. He's a very outspoken guy. I think he knows that he messed up, and he's done it before. And I'm sure the Eagles will have a very, very low tolerance for anything like this to ever happen to him again.
You talk about that low tolerance, and if he messes up again, he'll be out of the league for 2 years if he fails another test. I thought Howie Roseman's statement was very powerful, and I question if the Eagles can trust Lane Johnson for the future.
Well, they've invested a lot of money in him, so there is a financial investment. They just gave him a contract extension this offseason. So, I think they have to kind of walk the rope with him right now. I don't know that they can just look, if there's another instance, they're not going to have a choice. I mean, he'll be basically released. But, I don't think the Eagles want to see anything like that happen. I mean, the year he was drafted in 2013, there was 2 tackles drafted in front of him, and there's not even any comparison between him and Eric Fisher and Luke Jokel about, who's the best player and who has a long-term future. However, we just got to sort of question not just the judgment, but what is it that's actually taking and how reliant is he upon it? I mean, to me, it's no different than an addict in anything. That if you can't, suspend or stop whatever ingestion or intake that you have of whatever it is that he took, you can't stop that. That's no different than what an addict has. And so I would really, if I was the Eagles, in the next 10 weeks, I'd really be looking hard at just what he took and why he takes it and how necessary is it. Is it something that he needs mentally to play really, really well at a high level like he's played, or is it something that he mentally doesn't need? I mean, that's really what has to be addressed at this point.
You were a player in the league, and obviously it's a lot different with the amount of supplements that they take now than back then. But how essential was it to take some type of supplement?
Well, I mean, it was a steroid era for sure for a lot of guys. I mean, it was no different than what you saw in baseball, I mean, that he looks bigger and stronger, and he doesn't look like he fatigues at all. What's he doing, What, how do you keep up, with some of these guys out there? So, that was a big part of, playing in that era. There was a lot of guys that did. And, I just had guys that told me that if they thought it was the difference between, having a career or not having a career, they would do it. And a lot of guys didn't believe that was the difference between having a career or not. So that was the thing. But you saw in baseball what happened is, guys like Roger Clemens or Barry Bonds, guys that never took and were Hall of Fame players all by themselves, all of a sudden they got caught up in an era where, Mark McGwire's hitting 60 home runs and Sammy Sosa's like, I want to hit 60 home runs. Barry Bonds wants to hit 70 home runs. I mean, what are you guys doing? I mean, all word traveled, and it became the steroid era in baseball. And, that was what it was like. So it's not that much different from the standpoint of what what can you get? Now it's, everything's tested, but what can you get legally that can help give you some kind of an edge? Everybody's looking for an edge, no matter what it is. Training, rest, nutrition, supplements, whatever it is. Everybody's looking for some level of difference maker that can keep them on the field longer and, at a higher level.
Baldy with us, Brian Baldinger right now from the NFL Network on the Zach Gelb Show. So Big V moving to right tackle. They'll keep Barber at left guard. What do you expect out of Big V on Sunday, which is a big task in the Washington Redskins?
Well, he's going to see the best defensive player, Ryan Kerrigan. And, Ryan, he hyperextended his elbow, 2 weeks ago, in Washington, and he missed much of the game. He came back last week. It looks like he's playing with a brace. But he's a very good player. He's a crafty player. He's he's an every down player. He doesn't take plays off. They've protected Carson Wentz really well. He's been able to get out of harm's way when things did break down. But it's a big test. Look, he's a rookie. He hasn't played at all, so far in a regular season game. So, he's on the road. He's got to handle a snap count. It's 82,000 people inside FedEx Field there. He's got to handle the noise. He's got to handle the atmosphere. He hasn't played, since preseason, so he's gone 5 weeks without playing any football. I mean, it's a big test, but what do I expect from Big B? I know this. I've seen him play at TCU for a long time. He played right tackle, left tackle. You can't coach size. He's got enormous size. He's got a Polynesian cultural background to him, and a lot of cousins and family members that have all played football. It's, from that standpoint, I think he'll be fine. He's a smart kid. But, Week 6 of the National Football League is a whole lot faster than that Week 4 of the preseason game, the last time that he played.
I would have to expect, because the priority number one is to protect Carson Wentz. We all know that, which how much he means to this franchise. A lot of quick release this week by Carson Wentz. That's what Frank Reich is probably emphasizing?
No, I don't think they're going to change what they do. I mean, they don't really, even last week, even until the last play, they don't take a lot of deep shots in this offense. They really, maybe at the most 3 or 4 a game. I don't see Carson holding the ball long. I mean, it's kind of it's a West Coast mentality. Let's get the ball out quick and let's let the receivers run after the catch. And they've had a lot of that because of the accuracy of Carson. But I don't think they're going to adjust too much because he's in there right now. I think they'll take a look, and if he's struggling in any way, I mean, there's a lot of things you can do from formation and protection standpoints, whether it's sliding to protection or putting a tight end over there or chipping with the back if he's having difficulty. But I think they're going to try to run the offense that they want to run. I think they're going to call the plays that they think are good against Washington, regardless of who's playing right tackle right now.
I love Carson Wentz, and we haven't seen him have to overcome a lot of adversity early on in his career. We all know rookies are going to make mistakes. You saw the interception, and I'm going to be curious to see how he bounces back. The team as a whole coming off the loss. How do you think Carson bounces back coming off that tough loss to Detroit?
Well, I don't think it was a mistake. I mean, I think it was the right throw. I mean, the coverage basically dictated to go to the one-on-one coverage, and that's what he had. He had one-on-one coverage with Nelson Aguilar and, Darius Slade Jr., and he took the shot. I think the receiver could have done a lot better job of getting the ball down, but I don't think it was a mistake. It comes up as an interception. He'll accept the interception. They were down 21-7. He brought them back 23-21 with 2.5 minutes to go in a game when the running back fumbled. So I think he played a great game. I don't look at it as a mistake. I look at everything for him, and I think he does too, as a learning experience. I think he'll be a little sharper. I mean, the guy hasn't made many mistakes, period. He hasn't made many bad throws. Going on the road, division opponents, the first time he's doing it. So all these division games and games on the road, as the season moves on, the games get bigger and bigger. And so I expect Carson just to get bigger with them. I don't expect him to have any kind of a go backwards at all because of the way the game ended in Detroit. I think he's going to go out and compete like crazy, and will make his share of plays just on his athletic ability and the fact that he thinks that he can do a lot of things in the football field. And they've given him a lot of leeway to make his own calls, make his checks, do what he likes to do. And I think that's what you'll see a lot on Sunday.
I follow you on Twitter, and you break down film better than anybody. The one thing I'll disagree with, and I'm not going to understate how much I do have respect for Carson Wentz, because what he's done has been unbelievable. But how is that not a mistake taking a deep shot there? Just because you're down one, don't you need to know the circumstance? You just have to get your team in field goal position. I thought they could have ran maybe a crossing route and just dumped the ball off there and moved the ball in chunks to get them into field goal range. I just don't like taking that deep shot there.
But who are you going to throw the ball to on that play, Zach?
Why not Jordan Matthews?
All right, so you're going to take the 4-yard gain and lose 35, 40 seconds on the play? You're going to spike it? What are you going to do? I mean, there was a minute 28 to go, so Jordan Matthews catches it, and, Tavon Austin blows him up right there for a 4-yard gain because he's robbing the middle of the field, and so now you're under a minute, at the 29-yard line. Do you like those chances right there? From
that circumstance, no. What I would have done, though, and maybe it was the play call, I would have
I'm just asking. He's got 2.5 seconds to make a decision.
Sure,
but so you're saying that's the best decision?
What I would have done is I would have ran a crossing route with Jordan Matthews and had him go 15 yards.
Did. They ran a crossing route. They did. Yeah. They ran a crossing route with him, and they robbed the middle. They had a one-rat coverage, and that coverage generally takes that play away. Now, you still could have fit it in there. He wasn't ready to throw it when Jordan was open. But, he could have thrown that ball. Like I said, he would have been tackled, and it would have been a 4-yard gain. You'd get the 2nd and 6 at the 29, and, the clock is ticking. So, I don't know. I don't think he was trying to win it all. I think he was just taking what the defense was giving him, which was the best throw available.
Brian Baldinger with us right now. Let's get to the officials. What did you think of the officials on Sunday?
Well, every time you look at the stat sheet and it says 14 accepted penalties for one team and 2 for the other, it makes you really scratch your head. Like, I've never seen that. It's the greatest disparity in the game this year, 12 penalty difference. And those were penalties that were accepted. The Eagles had more that were called that weren't accepted. So I've never seen, such a disparity myself. I haven't seen that in a long, long time. And so I thought it was really, really one-sided, to be honest with you. I think they could have called a number of holding calls early in the game when Theo Riddick and, Golden Tate got around the outside, and I think they could have called holding there on Detroit. I'm not saying that there's favoritism or anything. You just don't see a stat sheet that one-sided in the NFL very often.
And one more with the Eagles before we get to the Giants as the Jets, as Brian Baldinger joins us. What's going on with Michael Kendricks right now? Because he didn't play a good first half on Sunday, and I know a lot of people have been critical of him.
Well, I guess the real question is, why did he play at all? Like, why would you take – I know Nigel Bradham, had an incident in Miami during the bye week, but why – if that's what they were doing, I don't know if that's the case, why they said Nigel Bradham is the best linebacker by a country mile in every phase of the game. So why was Michael Kendricks getting those reps? That'd be my first question to Jim Schwartz. But secondly, he looks like a fat ass out there. I'd trade for his brother straight up right now. I'd take Eric Kendricks, who leads the Vikings in tackles and is every down player. Looks a lot like what Michael did his rookie year, but he looks like he's heavy and he's slow and doesn't look like he has nearly the burst that he had when he came onto the scene 5 years ago.
And I saw some stat, because I didn't see him that much, Nigel Bradham, on the field in the first half, but then I saw a stat that he played 20-something plays in the first half, and I was surprised by that, because at first I thought they were disciplining him, which I would have been fine with for what he did. It was stupid, and that was the second offense, but he ended up playing 20-something snaps in the first half, so you're exactly right. I don't get why you're changing anything up if you're not disciplining the guy.
Well, they rotated linebackers. So he started the game. Him and Jordan Hicks started. And then they rotated in Michael Kendricks along with Stephen Tulloch. So Stephen Tulloch looks slow, and he doesn't look like he can play either. So, I don't know. I'm just, I understand if you want to rotate your defensive line. That's been effective for Jim Schwartz, but I'm not sure why you take linebackers off the field for any reason in this game. I mean, Jordan Hicks has proven, along with Nigel Bradham, that they're every down players, and you don't need to substitute them. So I would expect against Washington this week you'd see a whole lot more Nigel Bradham and Jordan Hicks out there on the field Sunday afternoon.
Brian Baldinger with us. So how concerned are you with Eli Manning? I know his offensive line not that great. The run game, they can't get anything going. But Eli has not looked sharp. So what's your concern level with the two-time Super Bowl champion?
Well, it's got to be high. Going back to the Washington game and the red zone interception, the throw to Willie Tye made no sense and basically lost that game, and he didn't play well on Sunday night at all. I know the offensive line has struggled at times, and I know they don't run the ball well, but there were a lot of throws that were on the field that he just wasn't sharp with. So he just doesn't look. He doesn't look comfortable. He doesn't look poised. he looked very un-Eli-like, to be honest with you. And I can't figure out why. It's the third year in this system. He had two of his best back-to-back years under this system and with this coach, and he just doesn't look anywhere like he did the last two seasons right now. And I can't put my finger on it. He's not accurate with the ball right now. He looks flustered. He's not playing with poise within the pocket. Just a lot of things that just look uncharacteristic. And I don't know what it is right now. I don't know Ben McAdoo going from, coordinator to head coach, if that makes any kind of a difference. I wouldn't assume that it would. It's the same plays, but it's not a good-looking offense right now. He's not playing well.
And you've seen it with both coaches right now in New York. Their strengths are not being met. The offense, that's the strength of McAdoo. I see some bad decision-making in the play calling, a pedestrian offensive unit right now, and also a little bit of a circus atmosphere with Odell Beckham the last 2 weeks. Now, credit Odell. He did tone it down and did the right thing for the Green Bay game, but then after the Green Bay game, you have Eric Flowers shoving a reporter. So I just don't see a lot of room for improvement with the Giants because I don't know if they have the right head coach in place, Baldy.
Well, I mean, the coach is under evaluation. He's not gonna be fired here in his first year or anything like that. It's still very, very early. There's a lot of football to be played. I'm still waiting for this defense to get healthy and play better. I mean, I guess the shock is that between JPP and Olivier Vernon, they've got a sack between the two of them. So they're not getting out to the quarterback the way. Although I do think they're pressuring the quarterback. Aaron Rodgers did whatever he wanted to do basically in that first half on Sunday night. So, but there is a period of time where you got to learn how to play with a lot of new parts right now. They need to get all of their corners out there healthy. It's a corner-driven defense. It's a cornerback-driven league. If you don't have elite corners, it's hard to play against elite teams right now. And if Eli Apple is down and Dominic Rodgers are down, I mean, they just aren't the same. Right now, Leon Hall is serviceable, but he's been, he's had a ton of injuries over the last 10 years, and so they've got to get those guys healthy right now, and I think to really see what the strength of this defense can be.
And then moving on to the Jets head coach and Todd Bowles, I watch every one of his press conferences. Every week he says, we just got to stay the course and make adjustments. A lot of coaches talk. I understand that, but you never see those adjustments being made because each and every week they allow a big play. So what's going on with the Jets right now?
Well, it's really a mystery. They break down as much as any team in this league defensively. I mean, just leave receivers wide open. I don't know how you can leave Jesse James wide open on the 1 yard line. How you can leave Levy and Bell wide open coming out of the backfield and nobody looking at him. There was breakdowns in the secondary, linebacker, throughout that defense. And the defensive line isn't off the hook either. They haven't gotten out to the quarterback. I mean, for Ben Roethlisberger to drop back 48 times and for Leonard Williams to hit him once out of the whole group the whole day, to put one glove on him, now they did force a fumble, but to put one glove on him in 48 pass attempts, I mean, everybody's culpable here in this defense. And they're not playing well. And look, maybe Darryl Roberts is the best corner who they picked up off the bus stop, last week. But he looked like he was the best player they had in the secondary. Calvin Pryor got sat down. I mean, right now, you can see Todd Bowles is making adjustments now. He's taking guys off the field. He's moving guys around, trying to find guys that actually know what they're supposed to be doing and then execute it. So, right now it's not a good operation. And to see what Pittsburgh did to him in the fourth quarter in a tight game, 17-13 game, and to see what they did to him in the fourth quarter, that's got to be discouraging.
How do you punt on 4th and 2, down 11 to that team?
That's a good question. That's certainly a head coach's decision, and a head coach that has to live with it. I wouldn't have done it. I would have taken my chances. I'd go for a lot more in this league on 4th and 2 than teams do. But it wouldn't have even been a question for me. That offense needed to stay on the field. They knew they needed more than 13 points in that game. They needed an extra down. They needed a new set of downs. They had to stay on the field. I would seriously question Todd on that decision right there.
Now, before we let you run, Kaepernick's going to start this week. I think it's the right decision from Chip Kelly, and whether you agree with what he's doing or not with the protest, that's another conversation. But I just surprised it actually took this long to give Colin Kaepernick the starting opportunity back because I can't watch any more of Blaine Gabbert.
Well, you and me both, I guess. Blaine wasn't good. He wasn't good the last 2 weeks specifically, but, sometimes you make the change of quarterback just to change things up. But it's not a good football team. They've got a lot of weaknesses in a lot of areas right now. I don't know that Colin Kaepernick is going to be much better, to be honest with you, because this system,
Fair.
Any system, I don't care what you call it, the quarterback's got to be accurate. He's got to be able to throw the ball through the tire. He's got to be able to throw it where he wants to put it. And he struggled to do that last year. He struggled to do it in preseason. So we'll see. Maybe it was all injuries related. Maybe he's healthy, and maybe he'll be more accurate than what he has shown.
Massapequa's own Brian Baldinger. That's where I grew up as well, joining us on the Zach Gelb Show. Baldy, we appreciate it.
Equal power, Zach. Keep it up, man.
Thanks so much.
You, buddy.
Brian Baldinger right there on the Zach Gelb Show. So we disagree clearly. And I understand Jordan Matthews ran a slant route there. But that's the option I go to. I don't take a deep shot. You need to understand that situation. Yes, you have a deep shot. If it converts it, everyone's praising Carson Wentz. I just don't like taking that risk, especially when they were conservative on 3rd and 2 running the football when I thought they should have thrown the football. And this is not me second-guessing it. That was me saying it live. And also what I said live when I saw Carson Wentz take the deep shot that ended up getting intercepted, I thought to myself, oh boy, why would you throw that ball deep? Circumstances. You're down 1 point. You just need to get to the 50, get a 50-yard field goal attempt, get to somewhere in the 30, 35-yard line, and you set up a nice little field goal attempt for one Caleb Sturgis. That's all they had to do. And I don't want to knock Carson Wentz because he's the savior of Philadelphia Eagles football. He's been almost flawless. If that's the one mistake that he makes this year, I'm okay with that in the big picture. He's a really good quarterback. Really sharp. Tremendous footwork. Really good quarterback. The touch on the football is excellent. His leadership skills, another good quality about him. And that's why people ask, and I asked it as well, how will he bounce back? Because that's the first time we're seeing him respond from adversity. From what I've seen so far in the sample space, I would say that he'll do a pretty darn good job bouncing back against the Redskins. Will they win the game? I'm not ready to make my prediction yet. Who do I think is the better team? Eagles or Redskins? Probably the Philadelphia Eagles. But the Eagles have struggled against the Redskins in the last few years. This is the Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920 The Jersey, 609-919-9200. We'll take a quick break. When we get back, Big V, how will our intern Kevin pronounce his name? How will the legendary Al Brooks pronounce his name? Also, a little baseball talk coming up next on the Zach Gelb Show.